Can I taste your juice?
Yeah, it's always
I eat a lot today, man.
Well, that won't stop you.
No, it's not. It's that goddamn diuretic that they put. I'm telling you, it's not like. All right, look, I can say that I have a problem if I go to the bathroom and very little comes out.
Yeah.
Right. I go to the bathroom, I can fill a gallon jug, man. It's ridiculous.
It's good though. It's you're getting rid of all the fluids, and your ankles are not going to look like potatoes again, like they did when you came to Greece.
Yeah, but I know, but they still do every now and then. So I went back to the doctor, and now he tells me I got to cut salt out of my life.
Well, you're Italian. Tell him that's against your religion.
Jesus Christ!
It's like you can't win.
You really can't.
That's why you guys stop going to the doctors, I think.
You just stop going all together.
I think so, because every time you go to the doctor, they find something else to do to you. To give you something else.
And you know, listen to this. I'm telling you, doctors that in cahoots
big
with
pharma.
Big Pharma.
Absolutely,
it's all Big Pharma,
no
right?
doubt.
So, you know, I was having a problem with the anxiety, right? So, you know what he says? He goes, we'll keep you on this anxiety pill, but we'll give you another pill that will counteract the effect of the first anxiety.
One.
I said, are you f***ing kidding me?
And then
I told him no. I said, change it. Find something else.
And then when you have a side effect with that one, they'll give you another medication.
Like, it's ridiculous, dude.
You know, my father-in-law, we went 3 weeks ago for his, to the doctor, and I told him, he's depressed and all that, and he's having, he needs something to help get rid of the fluid quicker and all that. So he said, well, there's this new medication out, and it has a little bit of antidepressant inside, but it also has a little bit of antidiuretic inside, and it has a little bit of this and a little of that.
Amazing.
And I said, that sounds good. He's like, here's 23. So this is how they set you up. The pharma companies give him all these free samples.
Oh, yeah. I got all the free samples.
Right.
Too, yeah.
And then they push these pills onto you, and you start taking them, and then you become dependent on them. And then they have your customer for life. Yeah.
How's your father-in-law feeling, by the way? All right.
He's not good. He came and played poker last night. I took him to listen, this guy, his right eyelid has become inverted on the inside. So his eyelashes are cutting into his eyeball.
How the f does that happen?
He's just old. I mean, he's 83 years old. Everything is shriveling up. So yesterday, finally, we had a doctor's appointment with the eye surgeon. So we went inside, and the nurse comes in first, and they do the pre-exam before the doctor comes in. So the nurse, cute little, black lady, starts, asking these questions. So I'm like, he can't hear very well, and he doesn't speak very good English, so I'll translate and all that. So she starts yelling.
He starts yelling.
She starts yelling.
She starts yelling.
And how are you feeling today? And he does not like, he feels embarrassed. People, I mean, I told her I'm there to, I'll ask the questions in Greek. You don't have to fucking yell,
So she thinks yelling.
Yeah, she thinks yelling. Yeah.
That's almost as stupid as thinking that speaking more of a Greek accent will help, like, people in China understand you.
That's exactly right.
Right. Yeah.
So then she starts to get into some questions. She's like, okay, these questions are specifically for you. I'm like, well, there's nobody else in this room that's going to be examined. It's just going to be him. She's like, well, how are you feeling today? And he's like, I'm miserable. Like, do you feel tired at all? I'm like, lady, he's 83 years old. He wakes up tired. What do you expect him to do? What are these questions? We're here for his eye, for crying out loud. Anyway, so then Dr. Giannis comes in, and I'm automatically assuming that he's Greek. I mean, wouldn't you think, Dr. Giannis?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he walks in, short little fella, I'd say late 50s, early 60s. Very, very mellow, toned down voice comes in and he says, oh, hi, I guess you would have thought by my name that I'm Greek, but I'm not.
Right off the bat.
Because he saw our names, obviously, right? Yeah, and 𝗍𝗵𝗀. So he's like, but I'm not. I'm actually Lithuanian.
Ah.
But when my great-grandfathers probably came from Lithuania, they cut their name in Ellis Island. I was like, imagine that. I said, all immigrants have that. We know that, but thanks for filling us into the history lesson.
Appreciate that.
So this was he looks at the eye. He says, you know, we can fix this. We basically do plastic surgery.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
They pull the eye out a little bit like they do for movie stars so they can look younger, and then that inverts the eyelid back out, and then I put a couple stitches underneath there, and we're done. But he says until the surgery, there's another quick fix. This is another trick that they do in Hollywood. He took surgical tape and he pulled the eyelid out a little bit and then just put tape underneath the eyelid and then taped it down to his cheek. So he pulled it out simply with tape. They say they do that in Hollywood sometimes, and then they put makeup over it.
Oh, you gotta put, okay.
Yeah.
Can you just leave the tape there?
He just left it. He was like, F it, you know. He just left the tape.
Like, if he's gonna go through that procedure, he's got a facelift and some Botox all the same. Why the fuck not, right? Absolutely. By the way, I gotta edit that part you said before.
Which one?
Well, you said the lady that came into the office first, you said she was a pretty little black lady. That's sexist and racist. I gotta cut that part right out.
A cute black lady, why?
You can't say that anymore.
Why can't you not say cute black lady?
This is 2019, and people take offense to everything.
She was cute and she was black. That's all I said.
Isn't that ridiculous society that we live in now?
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
I'm more of a minority than black people in the United States. I know a whole lot more black people than I know Greek people, that's for sure.
You are. And by the way, this whole anxiety medicine that do you know I didn't have any problems until you came into my life?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I think you were born with anxiety.
Yeah, anxiety. No.
You were born with anxiety, my friend.
I was. Reading an interesting book, okay? Reading an interesting book. It's called 1 Second After, and it's really good so far. And it's about like a town that's being affected by an EMP burst that went off. We got attacked. Okay. Okay.
So and this is fiction.
It's fiction, yeah. But we got attacked, and they used nukes, but they used them above the atmosphere, or however they did it. Okay. And it took out every electronic in the United States. Okay. It is, and I truly believe everything that's happening in this book would happen. How fast our society will degrade and cave in on itself, and people will be killing each other in no time at all. Because we are so dependent on not only the electronics, right, but we're also dependent on the infrastructure to get food around, to get medicine around. And if that stops, oh my God, the chaos. Yeah. Like people can't even get insulin for diabetics, and you know they're talking about this. They have this doctor in the town that's he's a really good doctor, and he's telling people the truth, like what's going to happen. And he goes, this is the first wave of people that are going to die. This is the second wave of people that are going to die. Now we got to worry about this wave because all the people, and apparently there's a lot of them, that are on anxiety medicine so that they can function in normal society. Yeah. They're going to be out of their medicines. Half of them are going to kill themselves. Half of them are going to turn dangerous and kill other people. It's like horrific what would happen.
Also, I heard that when that happens with electronics, all the people on Tinder will become zombies. I heard that too.
Could be.
But seriously, it could also have a positive effect, though. I mean, it could just drive people to become normal again, like we were before all this, you know? Yeah. But and there more kind and more gentle and more supportive of each other. Yeah. Without all the influence of the.
I think it really depends, maybe on where you are too in the United States. Like, if God forbid if that were to happen, I wouldn't want to be like in the city. Yeah. Right. I would much rather be here. Yeah. Than in the city.
Well, nobody uses electronics here. They're all old anyway, so it wouldn't change much in Cape Coral.
Everybody's back now. That's why the traffic is insane now.
Yeah, I'm not used to traffic jam in Cape Coral.
So usually when I come to get you at the airport, no matter like what time of the day it is, off season, it takes about a half an hour to get there. It took me almost an hour to get there today.
You know, I handled it pretty well, but I just want to put this out on camera. If the roles were reversed and PBusardo had to wait 20 minutes at the airport for me, you would be irate.
It wasn't 20 minutes.
You would be irate.
And it was and I would be very understanding.
Yeah, sure you would.
And especially since I left, I left 45 minutes. I give myself 45 minutes to get to the airport. Did I expect that? I knew it was going to be longer than a half an hour. That's why I gave myself the extra 15 minutes. Did I think it was going to be an hour? No. You also landed early. Because I looked at the time that I picked you up, and it was around 9:40
I taught you a trick today. Before you leave the house, you punch in your destination, and Google, because it has real-time traffic, will tell you exactly how long it takes you there, and then you can plan ahead.
That's a good point.
Just like we did today with going to Sunrise, Florida.
Yeah, well, it's not always that accurate.
What do you think about this rally?
I think the more times he's able to see or read about the fact that there are people at his events and at events and rallying and care about the issue, I just think it's another one of the tools that we have to stay in his head, right? You know what I mean? Like the tweets, the calls, the rallies, everything. We have this all has to continue and get louder, really, and get louder. You know,
we can't sit back.
You know, we talked about a lot of stuff on the way from the airport to the house this morning, and you know, like you said, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's the lawsuits and everything, but you know, we got these. No matter what he does, right? It's not going to fix PMTA.
Correct.
So we still need a fix for PMTA, and he needs to do something. Like even if he doesn't do the federal flavor ban, he still needs to do something to stop all these states from shutting down flavors.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on in Massachusetts right now is goddamn criminal.
It's totally out of control.
It's criminal.
I think that we need a big win in a state that we can use for other states as well too. I think we need like a big lawsuit that's going to expose.
Right, and
some
then you
people,
could say, based on this lawsuit,
correct,
you cannot do, right. Exactly,
but also,
right.
I think the public humiliation is a big key to this. Like, if a state's humiliated where it's exposed why they're doing this, then other states would be more deterrent to do something so they don't get into that same situation as well, too.
What did you think about the presidential roundtable?
I think that overall it was mostly positive. I think it was a little bit of a dog and pony show, obviously, from the administration, because the subject to Trump a month ago was not even a subject. I don't think it was even on his radar at all. And if you remember, we talked about this at a past Smoker show and a few of the lives that we've done, that Trump is surrounded by these advisors that are very, very hard to penetrate. You can't get directly to Trump. So you have to chip away at it. There's his advisors, the people that are around him. And I think,
message from Gator.
And I think that we chipped away enough to the advisors through the rally and the tweeters and the emails and the phone calls to the White House every day, that the advisors finally got to him and say, hey, listen, there's something going on here, and a lot of our voter base is upset. And I think this is the reason why he held that. Now, I was extremely disappointed that 𝗀𝗃 was not invited to that. And I found out afterwards that it wasn't not on their part. They did everything possible to have a seat at that table, but they didn't get an invite. I was very, very disappointed, because I think that the adult consumer is the most important aspect that nobody is talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's talking about the kids, and tobacco and flavors and this and nicotine and poison. But nobody takes the adult smoker into consideration. It's like they're not even a citizen anymore. I mean, I think they have them in a class worse than drug dealers and druggies.
I think that's a problem.
So, whether you agree or disagree with 𝗀𝗃, it's the oldest consumer group since 2009. They have over 200,000 members. That voice should have been represented, especially after we heard multiple times at that meeting that, well, this is not proven to help adults quit smoking.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
What's going on?
So, and to be fair, yeah, nobody's put an application in to prove, right?
Yeah, but I think there were studies done that show
there's plenty of studies done, but there's none of them are FDA approved, if you will. It's like the RCP study, right? It's not taken into consideration. Because the law is so screwed up, the PMTA process is so screwed up. But I shouldn't have to spend millions of dollars to show that my product can help quit smoking. If I have a product that helps people quit smoking, and it's net plus for public health, it's a benefit for public health, then the government should do their job and encourage it, just like they did in the UK. Now,
And how come they keep saying it? They kept saying in that meeting that there's no proof that this is safer than smoking either. I mean, again, there's a lot of studies. there's a lot of information out there.
Correct. And some of it's coming through the past studies. Some of it is coming. It's just not out yet. Okay? I know that some of it is going to come out. But the way that the PMT is designed, it puts the burden of proof on the stakeholder and not on the government.
Oh my God. That's yours.
You know, like some Vicks Vapor Rub? So we have to prove that the product is safer than smoking, not the government. It's the whole process is screwed up.
But again, there are multiple studies. There's studies on heart health now. There's studies on cancer markers. There's the Public Health England and the Royal College of Physicians.
For every one of those studies is a counter study by Stanton Glantz or some other jokester that says vaping is bad, you know? So that's why the government says, well, if you want to put this product on, you have to prove that it's safer than traditional tobacco. The other positive that I took from this is that Trump acknowledged the difference between THC cards and vaping. I think that was very, very. See, I wished a few things. I did a Facebook Live right after the White House thing, and I said I wished a few things. I wish, number one, that more of the media would pick up that at least 2 or 3 people, including Matt Myers from Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids, he had to admit it publicly that THC cards that are causing the lung illnesses are different from nicotine vaping. And that was mentioned multiple times by the opposition as well, too, which was great. And even Trump acknowledged it. He says, okay, those are different, right? So I wish the media would have picked up more on that and made the the difference, and they're not. And in fact, we're seeing more vaping getting thrown under the bus, and that's a paid effort by Bloomberg. The second thing that came out of this, where I think that Trump is aware of the issue, is the counterfeit issue. Because there's counterfeit Juuls right now, right? I mean, Juul has removed flavors, according to them, since a year ago, and kids are still using this product. So what are they getting? They're getting mint, menthol, tobacco, as you said in the video that we did in Greece, which has gotten a lot of use on Twitter, by the way. They're getting knockoff pods that fit in Juul. They're getting all these Eon Smoke and all these douchebags that put post-August 8th, 2016 product on the market that's compatible with Juul. So I think the distinguishment has been made between closed high-nic systems and open systems that we generally see in a vape shop. I saw Secretary Azar, which is very, very against vaping, be a little bit more comforting to our industry and understanding the issue between the two. You know, Azar is one of these guys that sticks his tongue up Trump's ass so deep because, you know, he wants his job, and he's just a big Trump supporter, as probably you would if you were given the position of Human Health Services Director, right?
Right.
So, but when he saw Trump, when Trump did the 9/11 thing where he bashed vaping, Azar was like, yeah, vaping is bad. But now when Trump changed his attitude, Azar changes his attitude as well. So that was a good, again, benefit for us that we got a good positive thing. Mitt Romney being there was disgusting. I mean, the way that he talked about vape shop employees to me was disgusting. I've done on my 2-minute daily advocacy, I followed up on that White House meeting all last week. But what Mitt Romney did when he just completely, with these jobs, just basically called them useless, and if they go away, there's not going to be any loss. They're minimum wage. I have not met a vape shop employee that makes minimum wage, nowhere, in all the vape shops that I visited. But even if they did, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a job, you know? I mean, why would you talk about people like that when they're working and contributing to society is beyond me. His math was off as well too, because he said, you know, let's say there's 10,000 vape shops, there's 4 employees, and there's 40,000 minimum wage workers, basically is what he said, and we can just eliminate 40,000 people. But the numbers are not true, because it's not just the 4 employees that are in a vape shop. There's small, medium manufacturers that employ 10, 20. I mean, Mountain Oak Vapors employs 40 people. Jam Monster, they employ 50 people. You know, there's small, medium enterprises that employ way more people. And then there's chains of it, like the vape guys that we went up to New Jersey or down here in Naples. They have 5 and 6 employees at the big busy stores as well too. So the numbers are skewed. We're looking at about 100,000 jobs. I think that's a safe amount that are direct, and probably 50, 60,000 indirect jobs by suppliers, raw material suppliers, and all that. But again, I'm taking the positive from this because Trump does not like Romney anyway. So when Romney was sitting there blowing Juul, basically, because he's taken Altria money all his life, you know, Romney's a big Altria boy, and basically he's laughing at every advocate in that room except Juul, and he's praising Juul, and Juul's doing this, and Juul's doing that, and Juul's the biggest. I think that Trump understood what Romney was doing. I think that Trump is not buying what Romney is selling, and I think that helped our cause. As much as us as vapors will look at this with anger, I think it really, really helped our case, saying, look, these are special interests here. This is Juul trying to monopolize this industry. The last thing I said in my White House video aftermath, what I did is, when Gregory Conley yelled out that these groups have 160 million reasons to ban vaping, I said I hope that news outlets, and I thought that Greg did this on purpose, so it would be like a zinger that's picked up. And by golly, like 8 hours later, there was a story posted on the 160 millions with his quote in there as well too. So they got a little bit of an expose, for example. It just makes people think. It just makes people put people into perspective. So we always have to think of how the outside people are looking at it, not vapors. Vapors would get upset. You know, the PAVE moms are going to be there. We know what they're going to say. We should pay attention to that.
The moms are in pain.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me with the moms are in pain? Just how about be a parent these days? It's unbelievable.
They're just looking for 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, but again, it's about responsibility versus blame. Just blame everything.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there's some responsibility to that needs to be accountable to Juul. And I know Juul's being investigated, and I know Juul's been called out. But I think clearly you see that you keep hearing Juul and Hynic, Juul and Hynic, Juul and Hynic.
That's another question that I had for you. And I read Matthew, because somebody put a post up on Facebook, and they were talking about, like, why wasn't Juul thrown under the bus? How come high nicotine wasn't thrown under the bus, right?
Correct.
How come nobody said anything or talked anything about that? And I saw the post that Matthew Elliott put up, kind of defending that. And when I read that, I was like, I didn't necessarily agree with it, but I'm also not one to, hey, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but, you know what I mean? There's too many of those kinds of fucking posts.
No, either you say the truth, or you move on. This is the way I am. I see some posts sometimes or some tweets that I don't like.
Right.
But guess what? I just scroll by.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. It's just scroll by. Right.
But if there's something that I can be engaged, if there's somebody, Rob Roberts, which leads the Breathe Easy Alliance in Alabama, the state group there, and a very good friend of mine, posed that same question. Why wasn't high nicotine talked about? And there's a two-part answer to this, and then I'll defend that answer as well too.
Okay.
Number one, VTA, two of their biggest board members have high nicotine products. So obviously VTA as a trade association is going to protect especially the two most important board members on there because they carry a 50 milligram nicotine product as well too. And I understand that. I get it. Yeah. If I was leading that association and two of my board members, I would have to defend that just like I defend the small ones as well too.
Right.
So this is never going to come from the VTA. As a tobacco harm reduction advocate, for example, as Gregory Conley, we realize the value of having high nicotine for adult smokers as well too.
Right.
So from a tobacco harm reduction, you really can't advocate for high nicotine. Now, having said that,
you can't advocate against high nicotine. Is that
correct.
Right.
Correct. Now, having said that, those are the two reasons why. Okay, and that's the truth. There's no hiding that. That's how I replied to Rob Roberts. And then he private messaged me and said, well, I'm glad you said it publicly. I said, it's not something that we should be afraid. We shouldn't be afraid to tell the truth to people. That doesn't mean I don't support VTA. I'm a VTA member. That doesn't mean I don't support Greg Conley. I'm an AVA contributor. I've given a lot of money to Greg.
Right.
Or 𝗀𝗃 and all that. I get it. I understand it. Just because we have a difference of opinion on a couple of things doesn't mean we can't all work together for the better.
It's the 70%.
Now, having said that, that doesn't stop us from, advocating for a nicotine cap state by state.
Right.
So if we believe strongly that that's the issue, then it's the burden's on us, on the state associations, to go and work with our lawmakers and address the problem, expose the problem, and see how we can work with them to limit somehow the cap or make sure that only heavy adult smokers are the ones that are getting this with some various legislation that comes along.
But my question is, okay, so like I understand, so if you have VTA in the room and you have Greg Connolly in the room, you're probably not going to hear anything. But I mean, shouldn't it be a talking point that we truly believe that the reason why kids are juuling and maybe they're moving to different things now is because of that 50 milligram?
It depends on who's having the conversations with them and what the point being across. I think that 21 and
I think they need to hear that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've submitted it to the
I think they
FDA,
need to hear that in vape shops. You can go from, you know, a higher nicotine down to a lower nicotine, and you can't get that from Juul.
That was not brought up. That I was upset about. I tweeted about that right after the White House meeting. I tweeted a few things. I tweeted that if you want to reduce your nicotine, you have the option at a vape shop where you don't have that in the C-store. Right. It's prepackaged stuff. I tweeted Mitt Romney, which got a lot of traction. That tweet got a lot of traction, not from vapors only, but from groups that are against this oligarchy, you know, these elitist politicians that just discount these minimum wage jobs. It got a lot of. I basically said that Mitt Romney said that you're useless. You shouldn't have a job if you work at a vape shop because you make minimum wage. But I think that the FDA knows this already. That's why there's some talk that vape shops might get a certain exemption versus closed systems that are out. I think that there is some framework around that, and there's a lot of valid arguments around there, including the comments that I submitted with the TSFA, which I thought were very detailed in analyzing this, with the nicotine contents that are being sold in the vape shops versus the C-stores, with what we believe is causing this youth initiation and all that. And I think that the conversations are there. Again, I think this is an FDA job more than an administration job. You know, the administration can't come out. I mean, Trump can't come out and sign a bill that says, I ban flavors. That can't happen. Or he can't come up with an executive order that says 20 milligram cap. It just can't happen like that. It has to go through the process. And the only ones to do that is the FDA. So in the conversations with the FDA, I know through Azim that we've had this conversation with the FDA multiple times on the nicotine cap. I know that we've presented the European model. Whether you agree with the 20 milligram or not, I think that you agree, and I definitely agree, that the 20 milligram cap has saved us from the youth problem in Europe.
Has saved them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, me too, because I do business in Greece, which is a TBD country.
Yeah. Well, and they're still doing very, very well with cessation.
Yes.
Even with that cap.
Yes. Now, is it more challenging? Could possibly a few heavy smokers not
benefit
be able
from? I agree.
Yeah. Yes, I totally agree.
Right.
I think 20 is on the low side. It could have been 25. However, I'm willing to give up a couple of smokers and not initiate 100,000 kids.
Sure.
I'm not willing to throw all the smokers under the bus so kids don't start. Now, I'm not. That's exactly what's happening in the United States.
Right.
For the 1% of kids that are naive users based on the data, they're trying to kill 500,000 Americans a year. But if 1% of the smokers don't quit because of the nicotine cap, I'm willing to work with that, and in order not to have the other issues and remove the product from the market. And I think that's the negotiation. That's the balance that we have to find.
Right.
And I don't know what that number is. I really don't know what the magic nicotine cap number. I really don't. I wish that our industry would spend money on a study like that. I would love to see that happen.
Let's say there was no Juul. All right. Do you think, in a way, that the fact that there is a Juul and a lot of attention is being put on Juul, do you think that's taken the heat off of what we know as the industry?
I think that Juul was both a blessing and a curse at the same time. Yeah. I think it had accelerated a lot of the restrictions and the regulations that we're seeing because of their product. But it also raised awareness to this industry that between 2016 and 2018 they forgot the smoker.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing all of a sudden the rebirth of the higher nicotines and the mouth-to-lung systems and the satisfying smaller setups and all that versus the cloud thing that we're doing between 2016 and 2018. So in a way, it helped us. But keep in mind, now it's not just Juul. You know, you go to these vape shops, they have these things called puff bars now. Predisposable electronic cigarette that looks just like a Juul, but it's toss away. It's a one-use thing. All 50-something milligram nicotine in 25 different flavors, and kids are just fucking just eating them up. And vape shops are carrying these products, and because they don't learn. You know, they don't learn that you can educate and you guide your consumers with a lower nicotine product and help them. They're just going with the flow. They're just selling anything that there's demand. So you got somebody coming in buying 20 puff bars. Yeah, I'm a smoker, man, and these things are keeping me off cigarettes. You turn around and flip them for $10 at high schools, you know. Happens all the time. And as long as we're honest with it, if we can't be honest with our own industry, then we're doing a horrible job. We can just lie around and take our head and stick it right up our ass and say, no, we don't have a problem, but we do have a problem. And then, like I said, it's not just a Juul now. There's so many copycats out there. We're selling our own open bottle 50 milligram nicotine now with pod systems in vape stores. So I remember one thing that you had said, I want to say this is 2013, maybe 2014 in Tampa. You said, I don't want to get people hooked on vaping. Do you remember that? I don't want to get people hooked on vaping. I want to help adult smokers transition from smoking.
Oh yeah. Well, we've been saying that all along. But
I feel like a lot of the industry trying to chase that Juul sale fell into that same trap, and we're creating a desire and a dependency and a fiending for these high nicotine products, and took away the pleasure and the fun aspect of vaping. And not that we're hooked on vaping, we're using it as a tool to stay off cigarettes, and we're enjoying it. Right. So if Juul wasn't going to do it, I wish I would have done it. Honestly, I would have done it differently than Juul. But I definitely me and you always said that. What are you guys doing? Yeah. Going to a vape store and 6 milligram is the highest nicotine. How are you going to convert people? Yeah. I think if Juul hadn't come along and we would have continued that same path, vape stores would have closed. They will continue to close because you're not going to get any new customers inside. And people, you know, quickly got tired of this, you know, $24 every 2 days, 60 ml bottle, and $7 for a replacement coil. Right. So I wish we would have done it. I mean, we've been leaders in this industry since by we, I'm meaning the entire industry that built this industry. We've always come up with solutions. It seemed like the solution for the smoker in those years was not there, and there was no desire from any vape store to do it. Right. The majority of vape stores. I'm not gonna say all vape stores. I don't want to throw everybody under the bus, but
yeah, you know, we always say that. We always talk about vape shops, and you know, we always talk about the negative vape shops, right? And, you know, the negative vape shops have a negative impact, but there are a lot of good vape shops, and I think we always need to say that. You know, we're not talking about everybody, but you know, there's a lot of them, and we hear the stories all the time. Yeah. You know, about people going in and I can't find any mouth along, I can't find any high nicotine, I can't find any of this, I can't find any of that.
I think that the vape shop turned to gravitate to missing sales of new consumers. Right. To various outlets. I saw just the other day, I'm in a vape shop owner group, and this guy posts, he's selling pre-rolled CBD flower, right? They're basically joints, right? Combustibles. And he wholesales them to vape shops. And it comes in a stand that has 4 walls, and it's a rotating stand, and it has little holes, and they take the joints, and every joint, the wrapper is a different color based on the flavor. So they have like one side all blue, one side all orange, one side all yellow, and they have the joints stuck in the holes, and they're selling this entire package like a starting price, I don't know, $450, and you set it on your counter, and then you sell this pre-roll. Now, look, you can say whatever you want about CBD. Me and Phil can tell you our own scientific research that we've done on CBD. There's no doubt about that. You can say whatever. And I'm not bashing it by any means, but guess what? The FDA is coming after it, and we saw warning letters come out the other day, and they're going after it heavily. A lot of these people that are making CBD used to make liquid before. And the same people that ruin the industry for the e-liquid industry are now ruining the CBD industry as well too. It's exactly what's happening. So when I see a combustible product, no matter what the benefits is, you can say weed has benefits as well too, right? No matter what the effect of the product is, when you're selling a combustible product in a place that's called vape shop,
big problem.
We have a big problem. We have a huge problem.
Yeah.
You know, I'm against CBD in vape shops. If it's a wellness shop that carries the creams and all that, and I get it.
Different.
Just with the entire CBD concept, you know, if you have a couple of bottles of sublingual or whatever, and if somebody asks for it, you don't want to lose a sale, great. But you go into these places now, and they look like head shops.
Yeah.
And truth be told, that the stigma in the United States, you could be tons of people for legalization and all that, but the stigma is still there. And not only is the stigma still there, but there's a lot of bad product on the market because every jokester that was making liquid is now making CBD. So even your strains of flower, you don't know what kind of potency they have. The creams, the milligrams are off. The claims that they make. I mean, I saw a CBD warning letter the other day for a CBD company. I won't say the name, but it has a big fish on it. I mean, they literally stuck them to the wall. I mean, they were making claims on there from headaches to this, to that, to cancer, to, I mean, all kinds of stuff. You can't do that in America. I don't know how to tell you. And we've warned people about this for the last 2 years, and they thought like CBD is just going to go unnoticed. I think CBD is going to get fucked more than vaping. Mark my word. It's here on camera. They're going to come after it hard because you're talking about somebody that's being affected, pharma with vaping. CBD is definitely a direct competitor from pharma, and there's no way that the FDA is going to allow that to go on. But the GlaxoSmithKline and everybody else is not going to allow that to go on as well too.
Do you feel safer with me driving in this vehicle, this nice like 4x4 vehicle, than you feel driving the Yaris around Greece? You feel pretty safe right now?
I never feel safe when I'm not driving.
I know, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. It's a control thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you know you're in control.
But I'm going to drive 4.5 hours through France next week.
Yeah, I know. That's right.
Gonna be
oh my God, that's going to be an adventure right
That's
there.
That's going to be an adventure. I'm trying to look at our route. The route.
To see if there's anything.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like if the world's largest ball of twine.
Yeah.
You should stop and see that.
Or like some big escargot or some shit.
Yeah,
I don't know what they have there.
Because it would make good video for the channel.
It would make good video. But I'm definitely gonna. So I rented. It's a compact car, but not a. You know, I found a really good deal.
Like what kind of compact? Like Yaris compact?
I think it's like a Ford Focus or something like that.
It focuses on being a real
car. I don't know. It's a 4-door, not sedan, but compact.
Couldn't get a tank or anything like that.
I mean, I could. I found a really good deal through National. It was like 250 euros for 4 days or something like that. So I just rented that. Whatever.
Well,
we get an upgrade when we get
in
there.
France, at least they drive on the
right side of the road.
Yeah.
But we have to go through tolls.
That's always fun.
That's gonna be fun.
It's always fun going through tolls.
So I'm gonna ask them if they have like a toll thing there. I doubt they do, but maybe.
Oh
they
yeah,
do.
like what I got.
Yeah.
What do you think about like liquid manufacturers, e-liquid manufacturers that like are all of a sudden going into CBD, or not only just liquid manufacturers, but like, you know, distribution, like everything, right? Everybody kind of seems to be moving to CBD. You know,
we're not against it.
Talk bad about it, right? Or
it's not our thing.
Or be against it. It's just not our thing, right?
Yeah.
We've always maintained focus on tobacco harm reduction and nicotine vaping.
Yeah, it's like me talking about wine. I mean, I'm not a wine sommelier or whatever. You know, I mean, it's just not our thing.
It's a very nice word, right? But others are.
Yes.
Right. So, do you think that exposes some people who have been in this industry just for the money and not about caring about the smoke? Well, I guess there's a lot of that, right?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the post 14, 15 companies that launched, a lot of them were not vapors. Okay, a lot of them were marketers. A lot of them had investments from other companies that came into the sector that saw an opportunity. There's huge profit margins in a 60 ml bottle selling at $25 retail during that period of 2016, 2018. Hell, there's some of the 60 ml bottles were being sold for $28 and $30 if you remember. So I don't think it was necessarily like the people were just like out for a money grab. I think it was a whole structure of a corporation that was set up for a money grab. So I don't kind of fault that. It's a capitalistic country, whatever. People are that's gonna happen all the time.
Right.
I fault the vape shops that followed that path, because the vape shops are the one that made them millionaires, not the consumers, right? The vape shops were chasing that hype and that marketing. These guys were spending a lot of money on Instagram and social media to push their product. And then the vape shops would buy based on what this following was and this hype. No matter what the product was, where it's manufactured, what it has in it, if it had nicotine options. You know, if the vape shops had a standardized model that said, if you want me to bring your liquid inside, you have to sell up to 18 milligrams, period. Or I'm not going to put you on the shelf. That would force the e-liquid manufacturers to create that product and have it available, right? When the vape shops say there's no demand, that immediately tells me that the only people that they're catering to is that marketing hype that was built by the e-liquid manufacturers as well too.
Right.
Seeing them transition to CBD, or some of them doing both, it's a business, you know, opportunity. I get it.
It's like you get it, but you don't like it.
What I don't like is where they turn CBD into a childish thing again, and using wrong marketing tactics by making these big therapeutic claims.
Well, also, how long before somebody goes into a regulatory meeting and drops a big bag of CBD gummy bears on the market?
Sure, absolutely. In a non-regulated, I think people got to understand, because they bring the alcohol all the time up on this, but in a non-regulatory arena like we are, alcohol is regulated.
Right.
In a non-regulated arena, these products are not acceptable. No, there's nothing childish that's acceptable in a non-regulated, especially when we're talking about therapeutic claims, or we're talking about tobacco or nicotine and stuff like that. So they're doing the same thing with CBD. We've seen some of the, we've been to shows, we've seen some CBD marketing that's really, really bad. We've seen some claims that are, we saw one in Germany, I think it was, that was sex and relax and sleep and active. You know, look, if you use a CBD product and it helps you,
it's probably all the same shit. And those
probably
bottles,
is.
Right?
If you use a CBD product and it helps you, good for you. Continue to use it. If it gives you relief, takes away your anxiety, if it helps with your back pain or whatever, who are we to tell you what to put inside your body? But we can criticize our sector, and our sector is the vape industry, what we're trying to protect. And I think a lot of people forget about that. That us as, I don't know, you want to call us personalities, I think it's kind of gay, but whatever. If you want to call us influencers, or people that are followed in this industry, or leading by example, whatever, we have the right, when our product, meaning our industry, is being threatened by the stupidity of some. And those people need to be called out. Will it make a change? No, but at least we know we're on the right side of history, and I think that's important over these years, where we're going through this period in the history books. One day we're all going to be in some form in those books, and what we want to maintain is that we're here for the smoker, and this is why we've always done what we've done. And if anything that affects that side of it, we're going to push back.
Right. I really just think there's that group of people out there, there's that group of opportunists out there that came into vaping and really things up with their advertising and their marketing and their labels and their childish everything, right? I think they really messed things up.
Yes, I agree.
All right, now I think that group is seeing that maybe they can't do that with vaping anymore, so now they're going to do it with CBD.
Yeah.
Right? And they're going to destroy that industry next.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And there's going to be a lot of people who are legitimate in the CBD industry and who are going to have to face a lot of the same things that we're facing right now because of these jokesters that are going to mess with that industry. Now, what happens when those same people go in and they mess up CBD? Are they going to move to THC next? Because I think that's happening now already.
There's already a lot of liquid people. I've seen Jeremy Dollar, John Nathan, all move into the cannabis space, or start some kind of a company in the cannabis space and all that. And thankfully, these guys are a little bit, more responsible than some of the jokes.
Well, I think they're responsible too, because some of them, I think they've always been responsible, right?
Yeah.
And they also see what's happening in vaping. But I think there's that other group of people that are the money grab, right? And they're going to go into the THC space. And
then whatever other space comes after that.
After that, exactly right.
I think the good thing about the cannabis space is that they don't around like us.
Right.
They're not tolerant. And I think our tolerance as an industry, we've always had a problem of walking on eggshells. Well, not me, but I think the entire industry has had a problem of being blunt and honest, not to shake up trees and not to say something that's going to cause, you know, truthful. Because most of the drama that's being caused is just fake. It's fake drama just to draw views. We're talking about issues with substance. And issues with substance is, I don't care what you say, we forgot about the smoker in America. Period. You want to hate me for saying that? You wanna say, oh, do you mean you're just saying that because you didn't feel make the senior tank? You want to say that because no, 3 milligram is the best product in the world for you. You can say whatever you want to say, but you will look back in history and understand that in America, we were unregulated for 10 years with a miracle product, with the greatest invention of the last 100 years that could benefit public health. 10 years unregulated, no restrictions, no laws, nothing. And we failed to convert more than 3-4% of the smokers in America. That is unacceptable. That is probably the greatest failure, I think, in the history of the vaping since the day Honling invented it. Yeah. I think it's more so that we didn't invest in protecting the industry, we invested in the marketing of it. Yeah. I think it's more heavily on we didn't create organizations that can promote vaping, like we see in the UK. We didn't invest money into more science and more studies. We didn't invest in PR to continue the theme going. We didn't invest into balancing education for retail outlets and employees on how to balance your customers and continue a flow of new customers inside. We took all the money and we put it into Instagram and these shows and this hype, because again, people forget very quickly in this industry that if you went to a show in 2017 in the United States, all you saw was 18 to 25 white males. Go back and look at the videos. I'm not making this shit up, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feeling. But the truth is, 2017, any show in the United States that we went to was 18 to 25 white males.
And if it wasn't, it would be embarrassing to that demographic. Right?
Yes.
I mean, like, would you be able to? I wouldn't be able to bring my mom to that show.
Correct. It's a bad image. Not that they're bad people.
What are you a part of? What
right.
Yeah.
It's a bad image. It's a bad image, because I've met a lot of these guys with tattoos and beards and all that, and they're nice
good people. Right.
But the image of it was definitely you couldn't see through a show. Let's not forget all that stuff, the cloud competitions and all that stuff. It was not a show for vaping. It was a show for advanced sub-ohming. That's all it was. All the shows. And this was just 2 years ago. Yeah. So let's not forget how quickly things change. And the funny part is that today, in 2019, nobody's catering to that group yet.
I know. That group actually feels left up.
So now we've pissed off everybody, and a lot of those advanced vapors went back to smoking. We're going to Alpha Liquid, and you're going to see a system there in their stores of how they keep up with the customer.
Yeah.
Our stores here did just a piss poor job of that, meaning how to follow up with that customer. You bought a new setup, you're a smoker. What kind of aftermarket support are you giving them to make sure, and what kind of data are you collecting in your stores? I mean, we've been to stores that don't even have an age demographic data. That is just completely ridiculous. You can program that in your POS system to at least know what the range of your age. That could tell you a million things. As a chief operating officer for Mountain Oak Vapors, this is the kind of stuff that we looked at all the time. This data is repeat customers, age demographics in the various locations of the stores, average sales ticket, average sales order. This is the kind of stuff that we should have collected. You went back to smoking, why? Why did you go back to smoking? Can anybody answer to that to me? I can give you 10 different reasons, but we can't give you a percentage of why people went back to smoking.
Right.
But I'll tell you on the top of the scale will be that 3 milligram was that satisfying. They kept vaping and they were dual using, and eventually they're like, well, I'm not gonna be spending all this money and smoking at the same time. I'm gonna go. I guarantee you that's in the top 3. If it's not the #1 reason between 2016 and 2018.
Right. Or they were given the wrong device and it didn't work for
I
them.
can go on and on.
Sure,
I can go on and on.
We know the reasons.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
But there's no data. Again, there's no numbers behind
exactly. That way we can say, hey, look, immediately we can say, hey, look, we have an issue here. We have people that are going back to smoking. Why? Let's correct this immediately. We didn't self-correct ourselves on that. That's because we had a database of a few million people that were vaping and were selling our products, and everybody was making money and everybody was happy. Yeah. This is the great thing about video and podcasts and stuff like that. Like, my stuff's been on there since 2012 as far as advocacy, but the videos that me and Phil have done over the last 5-6 years are still there on YouTube. Go back and look that we've said this is going to happen. It's not like we didn't warn and constantly wasted our breath saying the same thing over. Don't forget the smoker. And unfortunately,
not only that, like I can remember doing talks at shows, and I can remember saying, we have to get involved. We have to save this industry. We have to do something. We have to do it now, because someday somebody's going to come in and they're going to take it all away from us. And at that point, I remember saying, right, we're going to stomp our feet and we're going to say, you can't do that. Right. What do I have to do to fix this? Right. And at that point,
I think Massachusetts is a prime example. Okay, so I went to Massachusetts in 2015. Group of vape shop owners invited me there voluntarily. I don't get paid for this, right? I had formed the Tennessee Smoke-Free Association. The model was working. I helped various states form. Massachusetts was one of them that invited me to come. I did a presentation on how to set up. I gave them my template, my bylaws. I said, you guys need to start now, because bad stuff is going to come. You need to start networking now, start donating to campaigns, creating relationships, have a full-time lobby to prevent stuff like this from happening. This was attempted twice in Massachusetts, twice, and both times failed because the vendors that were making money, they're like, there's nothing happening in Massachusetts, we're not going to do anything. Including some of these people that are whining right now. I see you on Facebook whining about what's happening in Massachusetts, but you were at those meetings. So Massachusetts was unprotected, and all of a sudden this bill comes, and everybody's up in arms. And I'm like, now it's too late. It's too late. Nobody cares about you as a vaping industry in Massachusetts because you never built a name and represented yourselves professionally like every other industry has done. Nobody's going to go to bat for you because you didn't create any relationships. So states that have done that have been protected, and states that have not done that have been unprotected. They've been getting creamed. And we're going to see more of that in 2020. I mean, I'm sure a flavor ban is going to come to Tennessee as well too, but we're prepared to handle it. And we have the key components in place and committees that we're able to fight it. And we have a solution as well too. Meaning we drafted a bill this year to make these shops adult only, which I think, in my opinion, that should be federally. I think federally we should make vape shops adult only facilities. Look, I know that there's working parents out there. You're just gonna have to adjust your schedule. Vape shops are open till 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. You need to adjust your schedule to be able to make a purchase once a week without having your kid with you. I don't buy the argument that the only reason why, again, I'm not saying for the good vape shops, but there's a lot of bad vape shops that allow that 18 to 17 to come in. So you have an 18-year-old that comes in with a 17-year-old, right? And the 18-year-old buys shit for the 17-year-old. This happens all the time. Whether you want to admit it or not, it happens. These facilities, one way of shutting everything down is making them adult only. That way we can take even the marketing argument away from them. Because people say, well, you know, my flavor is called unicorn. You know, you should have the right to sell a unicorn, but you're not going to advertise it on Instagram where 13-year-olds can see it. Right. You're not going to advertise it in the newspaper. You're going to have it in the store. If you can advertise to a direct email consumer list that's verified to be of age, right? And then when the store is adult only, you take away the argument that you're marketing to kids, because kids are not allowed to come in the store. So you can sell whatever you want to sell inside there because it's an adult only facility. And this is one of the ways that the alcohol industry handles it as well too, with the ABC stores. So you need to have solutions in place to counter these attacks that come in part. And unfortunately, like you said, some states have done well, but a lot of states have done very, very poorly.
Can I taste your juice?